5G.
Welcome to the J.R. Hendrick Texan Night, a podcast that deals with the early life of yours truly. Guys, things are heating up as El Presidente faces off against his son again. Get ready for Jimmy. May 13, 1994. 4:30 a.m. Eastern. Betsy, Thomas, and Diane sitting down in the front of the front lounge. They wanted to watch CNN News, but there was a basketball documentary, so they turned it off to talk. You know, Betsy, we have to fly back tomorrow morning. Tom said, we'll be in Dallas by noon and back in El Paso by 3. Diane said, look, Amy Kathleen graduates the 21st, so I figured the next day we'd charter a jet and fly her to Washington, D.C. to see you and enjoy the year. That sounds like a great idea, Betsy said. 6 a.m. Central. The limo pulls up in front of the condo, and J.R. hurriedly gets into the limo. My daddy, J.R. said happily. Good to see you, Daddy. Good to be a family again, Jim said. I gotta say, I haven't seen you much in a while. You know, Dad, I'm glad to see you too, but there's some things I need to get off my chest, J.R. said. First of all, this doesn't make this all better. We're going to be a family as long as you're not politicking in Dallas or partying with your girlfriend. Okay? I know you're cheating around on Mama. But at least we need to be there for Christine. I'm worried about her. I haven't seen her in a while. I just want to be a gentleman brother to her before she goes off to school in Washington, D.C. I haven't seen her in a while. She's been busy. I've been busy. You've been busy. We're Hendricks. That's how we roll, Jim said. They drive to the limo goes to the Capital Cafe for breakfast. 6:30 a.m. Back in the limo, Jim and J.R. talk. It's nice hanging out for you for a while, J.R. said. You know, I gotta say, Dad, I'm glad you helped me quit my job. Boy, that was my idea. I wanted you to be my speechwriter. And then when you go back to school, I want you to find other sources of income besides your job. If I raised you right. The limo drives off to the Lubbock University auditorium. 7 a.m. The commencement procession is underway. And Cousin Joe makes his way with the other graduates. Namely, on his side was Mike Thorndike, his college roommate, and Claudius Blue, who had accepted a communications internship with the National Alliance of Mental Illness in Bethesda, Maryland. 7:35 a.m. Jim makes his way to the podium to make the commencement address. He is greeted by both cheers and jeers. Cheers among the conservative faculty and students, and jeers from liberal students. "7:50 a.m. The graduates are being named as they go up to receive their diploma. One name shot with J.R. Claudius K. Blue, the announcer said. J.R. stood up and gave him a standing ovation. "Cheered and clapped pretty hard. You must know this guy," Jim said. "Dad, he was a part of the debate team and president of the Student Senate. The Student Senate is what I want to try to focus on getting next year." "Well, you better find a way to keep up in shape," Jim said. "8:30 a.m. Central. The names are being called. One in particular of interest to Jim. Joseph Anthony Hendrick Jr. "Well, I'll be damned," Jim said. "I'm surprised crazy cousin Joe didn't name his son J.R. Claude grabs his best friend and ribs him. "Man, shut up. Cool it," Claude said. "Look, I understand how you feel, but, man, don't you ever humiliate J.R. in my presence," Claude said. They both shot at each other icy glares. "9:15 a.m. Central. J.R. is back at the condo with the admonition to wait for his father to call, quote unquote, sometime today. Sensing that he's getting a little uneasy, Ken decides that they play a game of Monopoly. 10:30 a.m. Central. Jim, Claude, and Kyle stop at a gas station in Seagraves, Texas, to get some hot burritos before hopping back into the crew cab truck and making their way for the cattle auction in Eunice, New Mexico, where they would be joining Kyle, Madison, George, and Andrew. "11:30 a.m. Eastern. In the front, in the Mansion Theater, Diane and Betsy talk. Jim is a good man, but he does anything good and bad for power. How do you deal with that?" Diane asked. "I'll tell you what I'll do. I give him the icy treatment. I make him pay for everything. Clothes, jewels, everything. Why, this morning while you were in breakfast, I went over to Vangelico's in Chevy Chase, Maryland, and bought me a 12-pendant bracelet to remind myself how much Jim loves me." 11:38 a.m. Central. At the condo, JR is getting even more restless that his father still hasn't called. "Let it ride, please," Grandma Elizabeth said. You know what type of man he is? He's a woman-chasing, power-hungry dude, JR. And that's something I don't want you to be like. Come on, JR, relax. It'll be okay, Ken said. We'll play some contract rummy or something. "1:30 p.m. Eastern. In the front lounge, Betsy turns on a popular 1967 album by rock icon Neil Diamond. Neil Diamond was a favorite of Diane's, and so they thought they might listen to it to have a good time. 1:30 p.m. Central. After some tuna salad sandwiches for lunch, JR is getting restless again because he hasn't heard from his father. Tears are starting to fill up in his eyes. Relax, Elizabeth said. He may call sometime. And even if he don't, we leave in the morning, JR said. Come on, Junior, don't you want to see your dad receive his honorary degree? Not that I want to, Elizabeth said. Come on, JR, at least what's the ceremony for your dad? Ken said. I've had enough with him favoring Kyle over me, JR said, throwing his backpack into his room. We leave in the morning. 3:30 a.m. or 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Betsy goes into Jim's office and rummages through his things and finds a love letter from his mistress, Laurel. That's okay. I won't tell her to do anything, Betsy tells his brother and sister-in-law. No, I think Monday I'll go down to Evangelico and buy me a 24-karat ring. 5:30 p.m. No, 3:30 p.m. Central. Jerry has become more restless, and tears are forming in his eyes even deeper as he starts to cry. Relax, Ken said. Look, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're hurting. But during his... I found out from Kyle. Then he stopped off with Claude, Kyle, Madison, George, and Andrew and got some crab. Don't even bother to call me. Relax, Darren's going to get Taco Villa for us. You all right, JR? Elizabeth said. We leave in the morning. 5:30 p.m. Central. At the condo, the festivities are underway. Mark Blue, a friend of the family's who went to prep school with JR, shows up to catch up on things. He asks about Amy Kathleen, who went to school with him in El Paso. Also there is Matt Mercy. Jim had informed JR over breakfast that Matt Mercy was accompanying them on a charter plane to Washington, D.C. to be another intern with the Small Business Administration. Of course, JR knew he had ulterior motives. He wanted to be with Amy Kathleen. Hope you enjoy listening to J.R. Hendrick Texan Consort. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, become a part of the adventure. Here's J.R. Hendrick saying until next time, take care and get ready for the rest of this